Dick, good morning. So, long-term NASDAQ, I mean, the NASDAQ, that's a lot of stocks in the NASDAQ, but, growth tech, the place to be or not?
I mean, I both agree and disagree with Jeffrey. I agree with him that investing in overvalued momentum stocks is generally not a good idea. And, you've seen the results of that over the last couple months. But I completely disagree with him about the investing in the NASDAQ over the long term. Growth and tech growth specifically and tech innovation in the United States and elsewhere just continues to transform entire industries. And it will continue to do that. We're seeing early stage tech companies that will be public companies in 4 or 5 years that will be some of the greatest companies of the next 20, 30 years. So I just disagree that you can, you should ignore or stay away from the NASDAQ generally in the long term, because there might be inflation that needs to be, taken care of in the next couple of years.
So I'm a big fan of, on Tech Check, when we try to get into exactly what themes, what technology ideas are going to yield the most important kind of innovation and growth over the long term. So what do you think that is? And more specific than just, okay, AI or cloud, which I think has ceased to have much meaning. What are the meaningful needle movers when it comes to innovation in enterprise tech, maybe even in consumer, over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, we could talk about this for a while, but I'll try to keep it simple and just do a couple. Payments automation in the financial, what's referred to as the fintech space, just continues to explode, and there are numerous opportunities there. There are the consumer-facing payments platforms and point-of-sale platforms like Toast, now a public company, and Spot On, which we're investors in, a private company, and there are a number of those. And then there are companies that are automating the accounts payable, entire accounts payable systems for companies. Tipalti is one out of Israel. There are a number of those. And as we saw with companies that are now public, like Adyen, for example, in Europe, these payments platforms can just expand and expand and expand almost infinitely. The total addressable market for them is huge. So I think there will be a lot of fintech companies coming to market on the payment space that are going to be great opportunities to make money on these public companies when they come out.
It's your job. I want to question you there, because we have seen so many fintech companies come public, arise, and I mean, they all want to do the same thing, be this one-stop shop for, a younger consumer. Can they all do that? It feels, especially in this market environment, the investors are becoming increasingly skeptical of that. You're going to have to choose some winners, right?
Yeah, well, I would distinguish what I just talked about from some of the buy now, pay later platforms. There are lots of buy now, pay later platforms, and we'll see how successful those are over time and what their margins will look like. I do think in the payment space specifically, automating payments platforms for companies, there are loads of opportunities, and you've got companies like Bill.com that address the SM, small market players. You've got Tipalti, which takes care of the mid-market. And then you've got folks like Coupa and others. There are just plenty of opportunities for all these platforms.
Dick, I was trying to think, I was listening to Jeffrey Gundlach and trying to think about what Kathy Woods might say in response. And I imagined her saying something like he's shorting American innovation. What's so interesting, he says, don't buy the NASDAQ, buy emerging markets. Do you think that he's maybe reading that as emerging markets like China chipping away at U.S. tech dominance?
I don't. It's hard to say what he's. I think he was. First of all, I think he was mostly talking about over the course of the previous year, those overvalued momentum plays where things are trading at 50 times next 12 months revenue, which is silly. So I think Kathy's response to him and mine are probably the same. You don't want to be short American innovation and American tech innovation over the course of the next 4 to 5 years. Some of these very early stage companies are doing amazing things, then they're going to be the next great American public companies.